Please be seated. Well, good morning. Welcome. Welcome on this beautiful day, in this beautiful place, to celebrate this beautiful occasion. Thank you all for being with us today. And thank you especially for our graduates who are able to be with us, and our staff and our faculty members who are able to join us today. I am honored to be with you on this particularly gorgeous day to celebrate this wonderful occasion. Great occasion for you, great occasion for our school too. These are the days that make all of us who do all of this most proud, most joyful about everything that we do every day. And so you are really the ones who make this possible for us, for what we enjoy to do as well. I appreciate you being with us. This is St. Francis's 6th graduation ceremony. With these 6 graduates we celebrate today, St. Francis alumni number 52. So they can definitely take us in a football game now. There was a time when, it was a little more even. We probably could have handled them, but not anymore. The graduation group that we have today, like so many, but in particular persevered a few extra challenges that we all experienced over the last couple of years, but we weren't trying to go through law school at that time, on top of all the family and other challenges that so many folks experienced. These folks were able to do this in the midst of all that. And for that, if nothing else, I think they deserve a round of applause from us right at the beginning. Wouldn't you say? Congratulations. A very difficult program to do with all those challenges. It only makes their accomplishment more impressive as a result of that. We're excited that so many of you could also join us to be with us today, and thank you for making the time to be with us and, of course, with your graduates. And welcome to those who couldn't be with us and who are joining us, I hope, with us on our webcast today for our remote audience. Welcome. So we are fortunate as a young school to be unburdened with some of the stodgier traditions that exist at other schools and exist in these sorts of ceremonies. I hope that you've already detected that the vibe we're sort of looking for, and which we need your help with, is serious but celebratory. We'd like to strike a nice balance between those two things. So come along with us on that journey, I hope, and enjoy the day along with your graduates. Enjoy what we're doing today. You'll hear from some of them, you'll hear from some of us, and hopefully we'll grant you a perspective on what they've accomplished that even you who are so close to them have not yet quite seen or appreciated over these many years of working with them. So sort of, if you will, be in the moment with us as we acknowledge the hard work and amazing accomplishments of these graduates. Now, for our guests who are joining us for the first time today, and to acknowledge what our graduates have really been a part of, I want to say a few words about St. Francis itself. Like these graduates, St. Francis represents the vanguard of a new and much more effective and affordable form of legal education. This form of legal education, by the way, rescued all of education over the last several years, most notably, of course, in legal education, but everywhere else. So your graduates were part of a vanguard of folks who were there to show everybody else how it can be done and how to do it extraordinarily well, both on, of course, the school side, we believe, but also, importantly, on the side of the students, what it takes and how students commit themselves to the success of this kind of endeavor. Today, I should tell you that more than 30% of law schools nationwide have programs teaching law degrees the way we teach them. Some of them are hybrid programs in which students also come physically together more frequently than we do that. But 30% of law schools is a very big change from where it was just a few years ago, including when all of our graduates began this program. That was a rather rare thing, and it is no longer. That has many reasons, of course, but one of them is all the fine work that they have done and that has been noticed over the years by others in legal education. So word is spreading in what we would, at least in the academic world, consider a very short span of time. We are slow to change, particularly in the legal academic world. This is moving along, and St. Francis is becoming considered the undisputed quality leader in California accredited online law schools. We're the ones everybody looked to see how well it ought to be done. And of course, that's measured by the accomplishments of our graduates, and no pressure for those of you who just sat for the bar exam. No pressure at all. That is, of course, one of the most important metrics that people pay attention to, and our graduates, including, I am certain, these graduates, do very, very well on those exams. Despite what you may hear sometimes, the need for really good lawyers is immense. You may hear there's too many lawyers, jokes about lawyers, all that sort of stuff. Well, the fact is that in most of our courts, the majority of litigants appear in court without the support and assistance of a lawyer in extremely important and complicated matters that they are ill-equipped to handle self-representation. And the reason is we don't have enough good lawyers, particularly in California, which has for a long time constrained the supply artificially of lawyers in the state by virtue of its ridiculously high minimum passing score on its bar exam. It has one of the hardest bar exams in the country. Sorry, graduates, but you knew that. And that's because they have constrained the supply for reasons of their own for many years. Our goal is that all of those who are willing and able to serve their communities and contribute meaningfully to the safety of our civil rights, to the rule of law, to causes, individual or collective, and to their communities, by their law practice or simply by bringing their legal knowledge to bear in other things, for example, in business or in government or in regulation or in private life. Our goal is that all of those people should have access to the highest quality legal education that is as affordable as it can be, given our need to do it the right way. We, of course, want to break down all the traditional barriers that prevented that from happening, which were many. They were economic, they were regional, they were racial, they were gender. We don't have much gender barrier in legal education anymore, but we certainly have all the others. And our job, our goal, our mission at the law school is to see that that is not the case going forward in the long run. So graduates, we're very proud of you today, and always, of course. For our assembled friends and family, let me tell you a little bit about them. Among this group, we have a physician, a musician, an engineer, an executive of a large company, and a very accomplished paralegal, among about 24 degrees they already have before they get this one. I went through the other night and I started counting them up and I just gave up. They all have an incredible past and incredible future too as well. But needless to say, we have doctoral degrees and master's degrees in abundance already among our graduates. And they are now adding the Juris Doctor degree, of course, the traditional one they've been studying for here in law school. So there's no other law school in the country that has this kind of graduating class. None, not one. We're incredibly proud of you, and we're so proud that you were part of our little journey as well into the law and into law school. All right, well, graduates, on your behalf, I will take a moment to thank your loved ones who are here with you. It wouldn't have been possible without them, right? Certainly wouldn't have been possible without their support. Those dinners that they had to cook when you had to go to class, cleaning the house. There were a lot of things, I'm guessing, that happened over the last several years. And now family members, that all comes to a halt right now, right? That the bar exam is over for those who've taken it. Graduation day today. And so now somebody's going to be mowing the lawn, I suspect, or whatever it is that they weren't doing for all those years, and that's the way it should be. We know that your continued help and support of them all through this period of time are what, along with their grit and drive, made them a great success and the success that they are. I'd also like to thank our very talented and very devoted faculty and staff on your behalf, graduates. You'll get the chance to thank some of them personally today, but there are many more, as you know, out there who couldn't be with us today. They are incredibly committed to your success, whether that also means challenging you in ways that at times were no fun at all, because there was definitely going to be some of that. Probably a few of them you really didn't like. Well, that'll fade probably over time. There's a good chance that you might even look back on some of those tough classes as some of the places you learned the most. I can certainly say that's true in my case. So look for that, but it doesn't happen right away. But it will happen. Here's where it happens. You're out in practice, somebody hands you a job to do, and you think back to that person who made you do it, or made you do something like it. And those are the moments where you kind of recognize the value of those. My personal one was my legal writing teacher, who I loathed at the time, and of course, years later learned that was exactly what I needed for my writing at that time. So I would like to introduce the faculty members who are with us, however, to our audience, those of you who haven't met them yet. Seated just in the middle, I guess it is the middle, is Professor Karen Travis. Professor Karen Travis, all of our graduates know Professor Travis. Professor Travis works very hard with our graduates all the way through. This group of graduates had the benefit of her experience and support twice on two very difficult exams, because this group of graduates had to complete the first-year law students exam 4 years ago, and their mentor in that process was Professor Travis for a rather intensive period of time. Yes, absolutely. Now we step forward to just this year, and we have what we refer to as our preparation classes at the end of our course. They're really an intro to getting ready for the bar exam. And those classes, too, are heavily, Professor Travis is heavily involved in that process as well. But with us today is also Professor Teresita Yu on the other end, who is also part of our PBX preparation course. Now, in the middle between Professor Yu and Professor Travis is Professor Raymond Chow. And Professor Chow undoubtedly was a part of a couple of classes that folks had. He teaches evidence and criminal law and criminal procedure and now advanced legal writing and a couple of other things in the course. He may have even oriented. Were you teaching orientation at the time? You may have even been part of the orientation for that group. So, faculty, thank you for being here, and thank you for being the devoted folks that you are. I want to also express my appreciation to the leadership of Baker College, our parent organization. Their incredible stalwart and continuing support of the law school is what makes all of this possible. It's my great privilege and honor to join you in this adventure. With us today is Dr. Jill Langan, who is the president of our college. And she'll hear from Jill, or Dr. Langan, I should say, in a few moments. But it's her efforts and those of the other folks who are senior leaders at Baker College that have brought St. Francis along to this spot. Their commitment to the kind of quality that matters in legal education today is what made this actually possible. Well, I in fact now have the honor of introducing Dr. Langan for a few opening words of greeting. In addition to presiding over St. Francis, Dr. Langan has served as both President and Chief Academic Officer of Baker College Online and the Center for Graduate Studies. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Langan to the podium.
Well, thank you, Dean Brandis. As president of St. Francis School of Law, I am so honored to stand before you today. I'm so honored to be able to participate in today's ceremony. And as I look out at the graduates, I see joy. It may be because some of you are done with the bar exam, but it's been a long road, and I'm sure today is a bit of relief. There has been the excitement of learning and an incredible sense of accomplishment. But that has been accompanied by hours of class time. Hours and hours and hours of studying. And stress over exams and times with friends and family that were sacrificed. This endeavor is not for the weak, and I am so impressed with each one of you. And I truly hope that you will remain part of the St. Francis family as you go on and become an active alum. But given how hard you have worked and how long you have waited, I'm not going to postpone your graduation 1 minute longer. So Dean Brandis, let's proceed.
All right, wonderful. Well, it is traditional at our ceremonies for us to take a moment to honor the flag and say the Pledge of Allegiance. And so I'd like to ask Professor Travis to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Our flag is there.
Everybody please stand. It's the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Professor Travis. Well, this is a graduation of abundance. We celebrate the accomplishments of our wonderful group of graduates, and we also want to acknowledge the accomplishments of those who attained highest academic honors in this program. Now, this is a very difficult program, so when we talk about folks who attain these numbers, we are talking about the level of commitment that is required is remarkable. We have a unique situation this year in that 3 graduates were in a race for the highest cumulative GPA over 4 years of study. 3 graduates. And 3 graduates in this case, all of whom were within 1/100th of a point of each other after 4 years of study, at the very highest level of grades within our school. So under those circumstances, I don't know that that's ever occurred before. Faculty, I think we would have a hard time saying that our grading is quite that precise over 4 years, that we would recognize only one person who had the highest number from among that group. So I want to be sure we extend our congratulations and recognition to all those 3 who were at that point. It takes incredible genius and grit to compete at that level and to do so for 4 straight years, not to mention the amount of work that's involved. And just for perspective, all of these graduates that are within that 1/100th of each other are within 7/100ths of the highest GPA ever attained in the law school to date. So they were not far off from the record either. We're still talking about hundreds here, remember, as opposed to tenths of a point. So they definitely deserve our attention and congratulations. That 7/100ths of a point, so that's about a dozen multiple choice questions or something like that over the course of 4 years, or a few points on an essay or a couple of essays and a final exam. So it was a close race, to be sure. Well, I will ask you to join me in applauding all 3 graduates for GPAs that were in excess of 3.7 on a 4-point scale. I won't tell you exactly what they were, but in excess of that in one of the hardest law schools in the country. So would you please join me first in just honoring Jennifer Campos, Dr. Julie Harvey, and Dr. Adhari Windakun, who regrettably wasn't able to be with us in person today. I hope he's watching. Congratulations, Dr. Windakun. Well, we are honored today to have 2 of our competing valedictorians with us. Let me tell you a little bit about those who are with us today. Jennifer Campos has already made a great impact in the law. For many years, she has been a paralegal with a law firm in Wisconsin. one of the states that has traditionally recognized the need for providing legal education services that ordinary people, not just the privileged, can access. She lives and works in one of the rural communities there, 170 miles from Minneapolis, about in the center of the state, pretty close to that. Is that right? Pretty close to the center of the state? Yeah. And lawyers are relatively few in number there and sorely needed because people, believe it or not, still have legal problems out in the middle of the state. Her employer has been a great, great supporter of her education. And I don't imagine she'd mind me telling you that she has a great colleague and mentor in the firm, another St. Francis graduate in the same firm, Carly Fish, who is now a member of both the California bar and also the Wisconsin bar quite recently. And Carly, I don't know if you're watching, but here's to you for that as well. Congratulations. But I'm telling too much of the story. I would like, if we could, to have Jennifer please join us for a few remarks and for our congratulations.
Hi, everybody. When Dean Brandeis asked me to talk today, I wanted to talk about gratitude. I've been reflecting back over the years and all of the hard work that we've put in and how much we've all gotten to know each other. And all I could think of was how much gratitude I have for everybody that's helped us get to where we are. I've always wanted to be a lawyer. It's been a lifelong goal of mine. At this point in my life, I didn't think that it was going to be possible. So I'm grateful to St. Francis for providing me the opportunity to achieve my goal by providing a program that let me work and raise my 3 children and still attend class. And the professors that have went above and beyond to make sure that we could to make sure that we learned what we needed to learn. And not only just from the textbook, we learned how the law applies to real life and how we could use it in our futures. I'm grateful for my classmates. Starting out, to be completely honest, you guys all intimidated me because you seemed a lot more accomplished than I was. But over the years, we got to know each other and we learned how to bounce ideas off of each other. I learned more from communicating with you guys and seeing how you understood everything. It made me learn the concepts better and be able to see from your different point of views. And I feel like we've built some lifelong friendships that we can hopefully forever reach out to each other and bounce ideas off of each other. I also wanted to say that I'm grateful for my family, like Dean Brandeis said. I have 3 daughters and a husband, and they've put off a lot of things for me these last 4 years. And they've kept pushing me to get better and grow stronger and not to give up. They talked me off the ledge, just like some of my classmates did over this last month or so. And again, Dean Brandeis kind of said this for me as well. My employer also kind of pushed me. They're the ones that planted this idea in my head that I could maybe someday crazily actually become a lawyer. And they did what it took to get me here. So looking back over the last 4 years and all of the hard work and all of the late nights and studying, really what I'm going to remember is how grateful I am for everybody that helped get us here. So.
Wow, thank you. It's all over now. Everything from here on, piece of cake. I have had occasion to get to know our other honoree, Dr. Julie Harvey. I was lucky enough to work with her on an independent study project. She produced one of the best student scholarly articles that I have read over my 20+ some years of doing those in law schools. I want to tell you the title. It was entitled the Supreme Court limits the hot pursuit doctrine in Lange v. U.S. Now, this is what we call a case note. In legal academic world, we take a case that was an important case in changing the law in some manner that's necessary for others to learn about and understand, and we examine it. How did they get there, and what precedents led them to that spot, or what was different about that case that caused the court to want to change the law? And so it calls on the writer to do some fairly deep thinking, not just about the case, but about policy issues and what was going on when the court made that decision. So case notes end up being actually prominent and important in legal scholarship. And as I said, this was one of the best such articles that I've ever seen a student produce. She came to law school from work in education and from the discipline of playing piano at the professional level. And she has already gone on to contributing to her community in a variety of ways, as an intern with the Contra Costa County District Attorney in the East Bay of San Francisco, and with the Citizenship and Immigration Service, the San Francisco field office of the Department of Homeland Security. Julie, I think I can tell you now that you also wrote one of the most captivating and clever admissions essays that I've ever read. And I've read thousands of those. The art of those, by the way, is to do all the things you have to do, to tell them about what your interest is in going to school or going to this school, but also draw in the reader in a way. And Julie had a marvelous way of doing that in your very creative but also very focused writing. It put me in the moment, and that's unusual, so thank you. Well, all right, I'm telling more of the story than I should. Again, please join me now in congratulating and welcoming Dr. Julie Harvey.
Wow, I hope my speech measures up. Hello, everyone. I never thought I'd be here for so many reasons, and I'm sure my classmates feel the same way to some extent. My former career in the classical performing arts was a world that very much catered to and served the privileged, the educated, and entitled. I wanted to do something different, something that could somehow affect change, meaningful change, in a meaningful way, something that could potentially serve not only the privileged and educated and entitled, but instead serve the underprivileged, underserved, and perhaps the underrepresented. It is with this newfound sense of purpose that I, and probably my esteemed classmates, embarked on the journey to law school. Certain members of my family, which I will not name, thought I was crazy. I have 3 brothers, 2 of whom are lawyers. Julie, you're a pianist. You just don't have the skills. Come on, you're a girl. Despite my own fears, which were plenty, and despite the nagging thoughts of, what if I'm not smart enough? What if I'm not good enough? I forged ahead and took a leap of faith into the unknown world of law. Jennifer Warner, I heard you saying that you took a leap of faith too, so I stole that phrase from you. First year was a shock. It really was. Contracts, torts, criminal law, endless hours of reading and dissecting casebook readings. Torts, what is this objective theory test, and who is this reasonable person? Who is this person? Does it exist? Certainly not me. Long Island Railroad versus Palsgraf is one of the first cases we read. Justice Cardozo, I see nodding heads here. We're all in the same class. The zone of danger? Are we all really in the zone of danger? And just what exactly, how much is the preponderance of evidence? We take a scale, 51% a feather. How is that measured? What about proximate cause? What is foreseeability? Isn't foreseeability different depending on each person? The answer to all that is probably yes. I'm sure most of you would agree. One of the eye-opening things I learned was that law is not black and white. This surprised me. It was so gray. The law is alive, Professor Tonsing used to say in torts. I think he was right. The law, unbeknownst to me at the time, was prone to so much interpretation, depending on the person, depending on the judge, depending on the professor. We as students interpret the law, but we don't interpret it always the same way, do we? Judges, politicians, law enforcement also interpret the law every day, and I think it's pretty safe to say that they interpret the law differently. This could be a daunting thing. However, I think it is really a beautiful thing. It's beautiful because it could mean that a different take, a different twist, a different interpretation of a law, tort, statute could be the reason why an innocent man gets set free in a criminal trial. In second year, I had the privilege of clerking with the district attorney's office. I'll never forget the first time I set foot in the courtroom in front of the judge with my supervisor, DA. Then it struck me just how terrified I was to speak. Nothing came out of my mouth when the judge addressed me. It struck me, though, that I had the ability at that moment in my oral argument to change the course of a criminal defendant's life. Before law school, I would not have known how to do that. I would not have known how to really affect change in the meaningful way that I wanted to. Now, armed with 4 years of law school, I know that I can. And I know, fellow classmates, you can and you will. And we are ready. Lastly, I have many to thank. My husband, who put up with my neuroses for 4 years. He'll be glad that that's over. He couldn't be here today. He's in London. My parents, my dad, my biggest cheerleader. He passed away during my baby bar prep, but I know he's watching me right now. To my son, Tyler. Finally, to Professor Travis, Dean Brandis, all of my professors, Professor Chow, Professor Travis especially, for knowing when we needed a push and giving us guidance at every single step of the way. Thank you. To Dean Brandis for your support and always making everything right. To my wonderful classmates, we are kindred spirits and we are linked together forever. Thank you for letting me learn so much from you, from all of you. And as Elle Woods said in Legally Blonde, we did it!
All right, I've got to wipe the tears from my eyes after that one. Sorry. I'm an old softie. Beautifully done, Julie. Well, thank you to you both for your terrific thoughts. Professor Travis, we weren't able to get anything from Dr. Windekun, I take it.
I have some of his greetings to his classmates.
Oh, would you like to do those now? If you'd like to do those now, would be appropriate.
Yes, and Jari made certain that he gave me his words to address to all of you. And so this is, and you know how precise he is, and a man of few words. So to be able to get all of this from Jari was quite an accomplishment. So I'll put quotes around this. This is verbatim. We started this incredible journey 4 years ago, and we accomplished our goal to receive a law degree from this prestigious institution. His words, not mine, the St. Francis School of Law. It is a significant accomplishment, especially considering our full-time jobs and the challenges of COVID-19. Jari wanted me to thank our excellent professors who taught him about the law and provided invaluable training and knowledge. Jari is also grateful to his classmates and cohorts for their significant insights and collaborative approach. Finally, he wanted me to congratulate all the graduates for completing their degrees and wishes everyone a wonderful, bright future. Sorry you couldn't join us today.
Wonderful. Dr. Undakun is a cardiac anesthesiologist, and he just took the bar exam, and he's had to take time off to take the bar exam, and I suspect he's not able to be here because his partners in the practice are probably saying, you need to get back to work, because that's how that profession works. I hope I haven't misrepresented, Dr. Undakun, the circumstances. It seemed the most likely to me as it would be. Well, as anybody would tell you, none of these honorees glided through this process. In addition to the hard work that they had to do, life happened to them, as it did to all of us, and particularly to our working students who are trying to do both of these things at the same time. And so, I would ask if we could just one more time honor all of our graduates and our honorees. Well, the program also acknowledges the other academic honors that are earned by this group. They have done remarkably well overall, too. We paid attention to a few folks at the top. That's half of our graduating class at the very top. But every one of them you'll find in the program on the listing for those with high academic honors. St. Francis awards the summa cum laude, the magna cum laude, and the cum laude based on a student's cumulative law school GPA over the entire period of the time that they're here. And all 6 of these graduates qualified at one of those different levels on that scale. I don't think in fact, I know I've never seen that happen before. So congratulations, graduates, on that overall achievement. We ought to do that, too. And faculty, how did you let that happen? Over all these years, you had so many opportunities to spread them out. I'm joking about that. St. Francis is one of the places where faculty don't exercise the kind of discretion about grading that they do in other places. As our group knows, there's a lot of work, each of which is graded as objectively as we can, and it all adds up to whatever it adds up to. There's a degree of subjectivity always in this kind of thing, but much less so here, where you have many assessments, many opportunities to correct or get back on track. Truly a joke to say that the faculty could have done anything about that if they'd wanted to, which of course they didn't. So, our academic honors class, congratulations once again. Well, now it's time, my great pleasure, to introduce our commencement speaker for the day today, and that is Professor Ray Chow. He is one of the most important people in all of legal education today because he is a dedicated part of St. Francis's history, creating the kind of culture and environment that I hope you see that we celebrate here today. Professor Chow has been a teacher with us since before I became part of the school, since about the same time as you became part of the school, Professor Travis, I think, right? Very, very early in the time of Baker College's involvement with the law school, and teaches, as I said, a number of different courses with us that put him in contact with just about all of our graduates. And I think all of our graduates appreciate him for the contact and the time that they've had with him. So I won't go too crazy. He's a graduate of Loyola University Chicago School of Law, happens to be my alma mater as well. So if you catch us later, you'll have to see if our robes are actually the same color. The back part, we'll get into that a little bit later on, but watch for that. Without further ado, Professor Chow.
First of all, I did not even know GPAs went that high. I told my parents it was a 3-point scale. Thing about getting old is like glasses on, glasses off, like it's crazy. As I pondered what words of advice, pearls of wisdoms, and incredibly funny quips I would share with you today, I suddenly started to panic. Not the type of panic when you have 8 minutes left and 12 multiple choice questions, but nonetheless, panic. I mean, I want my speech to inspire you, to enlighten you, for your friends and family to say, He teaches law school? Sign me up. So I thought, how can I be memorable? So I thought back to my various graduations and those speakers. And I remembered, and then I remembered that, actually, I remember nothing that any of the speakers in any of my graduations said. Nothing. All I remember was sitting there thinking, should I have made a reservation to Olive Garden after the ceremony like my mom suggested? Actually, we didn't need reservations. They don't even take reservations. So I figured I would just prepare my speech today the way I prepare for lecture. And I really do prepare for lecture. Issue: whether the students can be convicted of not paying attention to my commencement speech. Rule: they didn't always pay attention in class. Analysis: here, the state will argue they are in person, not Zoom. They cannot turn off the sound, listen to music, play video games. But the student defendants will argue it's easier to look interested in person than with having a camera in your face. Here, the state will argue the student defendants are not thinking about dinner, work, the kids, the dog, or the holidays, but the student defendants will argue that they know what I say today will not be on the bar exam. Conclusion: therefore, a court will likely find that the students cannot be convicted of failing to listen to my commencement speech. Thank you, Dean Brandis, for inviting me to speak today. I am truly honored. Graduates, I am humbled by your accomplishments. But perhaps the biggest reason I was so excited to speak today was the opportunity to see you in person. I'm sure many of you are surprised at how tall I am. I'm actually 5'10" and a half. I always felt I looked short on Zoom. But it really was nice. It is nice to meet you actually in person, but to be honest, I feel like I already know all of you. I really do think the quality of our interaction online is far superior than in person. In fact, I have taught in person, and I can tell you that the quality of my relationships with my students here are significantly greater in most parts and more universal than when I would see a student 3 times a week for an hour with them sitting in the back with their laptop up, hunkered down. Also, via Zoom, I get the opportunity to get glimpses into your real worlds, right? I get to see your office, your home, your family, your dogs, your cats, what you're wearing and things like that. And I think that is a great reminder that there really is life outside of law school. And I think you all know that that's always my approach, right? Quality of life. I think you will find that nothing will make you a better lawyer, a better advocate, a better counselor than having a full and robust and complete life. Law school is not easy, and as we've all heard today, the program at St. Francis is certainly challenging. Of course, there are tremendous advantages to our model, but I also know there are difficulties. As mentioned, this was a marathon. I mean, Nelson mentioned earlier, for the first 3 years, we didn't have a vacation. I mean, what is that? Even in prison, you get visits and stuff like that. That's ridiculous. Fortunately, those that are coming after you, they do get a short vacation in between courses, so that's really outstanding. But that shows that that's a true sign of your commitment and your dedication. I don't know if I could have done what you've done, and I mean that sincerely. Secondly, you're juggling a lot of things. I always refer to you as non-traditional students, not in the sense that you're hip or on TikTok or anything, but in the sense that you are returning students. I was a returning student, so I've always had fondness for returning students. And you're juggling a lot. We've heard that today, right? Your family, your jobs, civic duties, everything. It's really amazing what you've accomplished. And all those sacrifices. I mean, we all make sacrifices, and I hope you agree that this is worth it. Today, the world is your oyster. You have so many opportunities ahead of you, but first, you gotta wait for the bar results. The bar exam. Just like the baby bar, only much, much, much worse. And that waiting. Family and friends, you thought law school was a nightmare? Welcome to bar exam results, the sequel. But I'm confident that you will all do well. If not this time, next time. No big deal. You've been prepared really well, and you've really shown that you're not afraid of hard work. That is the perfect recipe for success. It's required a lot of energy. You did it. Now is the time to celebrate. Many of you will become practicing attorneys. Some of you won't. But I think you can all recognize the benefit of this exercise, and it really was an exercise. My remarks today will be brief. After all, some of you, depending on how many classes you've had with me, have had to spend up to 90 hours listening to me, or I should say, pretending to listen to me. So I don't know whether to give you a diploma or an Academy Award. But anyways, also a big congratulations to the family and friends because you've sacrificed a lot, and I hope you can find some joy in helping your loved one achieve a dream. And they truly have achieved a remarkable dream today. Congratulations. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you very much, Professor Chow. You are truly a treasure. Probably the thing I'm happiest about is in our work together to have gotten to the spot where I think we're friends now. One of the few professors that I was ever able to actually go have lunch with over the years, because he happens to be here in Los Angeles and I happen to be here in Los Angeles. So fortunately, we've been able to do it. Well, let's see. We're at the point of the program where we'd like to hear a bit more from our leadership. I'd like to invite Dr. Langan back to the podium, if I may. Dr. Langan is, as I mentioned, president of St. Francis, and she's also the provost of Baker College. It was Dr. Langan's vision, along with that of Dr. Bart Daig, who is the CEO of Baker College, who made St. Francis into what it is today. And it wasn't just vision. It was, in fact, hard work, late at night, poring over the obscure regulations of the State Bar of California. Because when you took on the law school, there were a lot of things to learn about how to operate a law school in these conditions under these regulations in California. So numerous accreditation reports later, we were in a much better spot, and their constant support has been not only necessary, but the thing that really made this place the wonderful place that it is. No one shares your passion for this law or this law school more than Dr. Langan. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Langan back to the podium.
Well, thank you. And that part about no break, that wasn't me. That was the Cal Bar. I still have not figured out how we were supposed to get students to attend 366 days out of a year, but we'll work on it. Well, I wanted to let you know that in a few minutes, you will be handed your diploma. I know, it's coming. It's coming. It's a piece of paper that represents the culmination of a great deal of work and formalizes the awarding of the Juris Doctorate. But what you will take away with you is so much more than a piece of paper. You will take away with you a sense of accomplishment, perhaps more than any other time in your life. You will take with you a great deal of legal knowledge, and that, as you know, can be a very powerful tool. You will take with you friendships, as you have said, with your fellow students that hopefully will last the rest of your life. You will take with you the respect and admiration of every one of your professors, and you've earned that. We hope you continue to be mentors to others as you move forward. But as you hold your diploma and you move forth to use your legal education, it is my sincere hope that you will also hold closely the core values of St. Francis. Let there be quality in everything that you do. Never settle for adequate. You haven't yet, so I don't think you'll start that now. Continue to hold yourself to the highest standards. Be transparent with others, being forthright and honest with all. Hold true to the highest level of integrity, even in the face of adversity, perhaps especially in the face of adversity. Be innovative. Continue to push those boundaries. Being innovative and pushing boundaries led to St. Francis being your law school of choice. Push the boundaries, explore new options, continue to lead the pack. These core values, so important to St. Francis, have brought us all here today. I believe they have and will continue to serve you well. Graduates, congratulations.
Beautifully done. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Langan. Again, I want to thank you and Dr. Dagg and the trustees and all the folks at Baker College for all the wonderful things that we've been, as a small school, we rely on the support of our parent companies so much, and we have wonderful support at all times. Very much appreciated. Well, graduates, we are getting close. You're ready? I assume you're ready? Yeah. The Juris Doctor degree you received today represents the recognition by the school and its faculty that you have successfully completed the rigorous academic program designed by the faculty to prepare you for entry into the profession of law and for carrying the burden of trust placed in attorneys by the most important people in the legal system, the clients, right? Not the lawyers, the clients. The people the law is meant to protect are the ones we serve. And that's true whether we're guarding their rights or redressing their grievances or settling their disputes or protecting them from others. All of those very important things that lawyers do, most important part of what we are able to do by virtue of what we have learned and demonstrated on the bar exam. Only when the faculty is satisfied that you have met their standards for this granting of the degree are you permitted to do what you're going to do today, to walk across this stage and gain this degree. So at this time, I would like to ask Professor Karen Travis to offer a few remarks on behalf of the faculty at St. Francis regarding the graduates and their accomplishments here. Professor Travis?
I also wanted to start by congratulating the graduates, family, and friends for supporting them, surviving the past 4+ years. So thank you all. You have probably learned more about the law than you ever imagined you'd be subjected to on Tuesday and Thursday nights. And we've also learned a lot, as the dean said, about you. We've learned about our graduates' pets, family. I'm always into interior decorating, so I've appreciated seeing your learning environments. And so you've been a presence on those 2 nights for years and years. So as I say to you, go out to dinner now on Tuesday and Thursday night. Have fun. You won't be tied to the classes anymore. Graduates, about 8 years ago, when I came to St. Francis and we imagined the quality law school that we have achieved today, I hoped that one day we would graduate adults of your competency, diligence, perseverance, creativity, and intellect. Online law schools were viewed somewhat skeptically in around 2014, since they were somewhat in their infancy, and particularly there were no schools of our calibers. So we've all survived together, and you've shown all of the doubters that this can be done and done well. And here we are. The last time I was together with you all was in June 2019. We all remember that time, celebrating the completion of the baby bar. You would later learn in August that you had all passed that notoriously difficult exam. I am thrilled to have participated and helped to guide you all on that journey. And it is especially sweet that we all survived the pandemic together and now have our second graduating class from St. Francis as a California accredited law school. And it is achievements of students like you who have enabled our accreditation to happen. So thank you all. I know when you all started law school, and I asked the graduates to send me their thoughts on what their 4 years of law school have been like, and I'd like to communicate the good, bad, and the ugly about what they're remembering and over this period of time. I know when you all came to law school, and we're all older adults, right? So our families said, why are you going to law school at your age? And I was a second career older adult as well. And congratulations for showing everybody why you went to law school at your age. You've got more life experience, and I think that you will view the law for the powerful thing that it is and do good. And so some of you who came to St. Francis wanted to practice law. Some sought the knowledge of the law to help guide you in your chosen profession. And the theme from everyone's message was, you all gave law school a try, not knowing, and some even doubting, that you could succeed. But you all have, and here you are. I can speak on behalf of all the faculty that we've been challenged in every class with you, some more than others, and impressed so much with your spirit, motivation, perseverance, and dedication to your law studies. I remember back again to the baby bar that you were all required to come out here to California. It was the first time that we saw each other in person, and we commiserated at the lunch break over Togo sandwiches. And then the highlight of the day, we got to hang out in the bar at the Sheraton Hotel after the exam. And I think for many of you, that exam was a turning point when you really received validation that this is something that you could do and do successfully, particularly on an exam like the baby bar that has, a passage rate in the 20%. And that was quite an achievement. Several of you have had the pleasure of recently taking the California bar exam. Some have yet to have that pleasurable experience, but we hope and expect that ultimately you're going to have the same success that you had on the baby bar. And since this is your graduation, I wanted to just briefly address each of you personally. And I'm going to start with one of the Jennifers, Jennifer Warner. And I would be hard-pressed to think of a student who has worked harder than you have over the past 4 years. You always took advantage of every kind of assistance that was offered. And I remember consulting with you right when you started law school and were so convinced you would never get Iraq. You know, what would that ever mean? And here you are. You succeeded so much in your writing that the California Bar chose your criminal law essay to be selected as an exemplary essay. And for those of the families, after students take that baby bar exam, the bar selects essays from everyone who tested and picks 2 that are superior, that are great examples of legal writing. And Jennifer's essay was chosen, and Nelson's was also chosen. We had 2 on the same exam. And Jennifer, I know you were determined to get legal experience and got yourself hired as a paralegal specialist for the U.S. Attorney's Office in Pennsylvania, working on prisoner litigation, and that was quite an accomplishment. In your reflections on law school, you expressed that though you were mentally prepared for law school to challenge you, you had no idea the extent to which you'd be tested in these 4 years. And I think all of you expressed that sentiment. You wanted to express thanks to all at St. Francis who, as you put it, were willing to go above and beyond to help you to be successful and prepare you for the 2 most fun experiences of your life, the baby bar and the California bar. You expressed how law school has been by far one of the most challenging ventures that you've taken on in your life, and you survived basic training and raised 2 daughters. So challenges are part of your life. Congratulations, Jennifer. So while we're talking about Jennifer Campos, I know, as the dean noted, you had the benefit of the experience of another one of our St. Francis graduates who worked in your law firm in Wisconsin, and I think in part maybe she showed you the ropes. And when I think about Jennifer, I think of her as just my go-to student that always prepared, or you seem to always be prepared, and your steady, pleasant, diligent personality always shone through in class. I just never remember calling on you in class where you didn't give a thoughtful response to the questions. So your dedication just showed through. And you expressed your gratitude to a great group of classmates who have all worked together and supported each other. And you wanted me also to express your gratitude to your professors who not only taught you the necessary legal information, but provided help and guidance and life experiences when needed. So I am so glad that you've been able to accomplish your law school dream at this point. And what a role model for your 3 kids, that you can just do anything if you dedicate yourself to it. So it has been a joy to have you at St. Francis. Nelson. You've shared with me that you came to the U.S. from Brazil, hoping for the American dream, dream of 1 billion possibilities, as you put it. And this is Nelson's calculation. We've got 333 million citizens at the time, each with 3 acts in their life. And I know all of you, including Nelson, you're on at least your 2nd act, if not your 3rd act in your life. In your view, Nelson, as you begin your legal career, you expressed that you realize it is the law that holds everything and everybody together. You wanted me to communicate how your professors made you a better student and a better professional, as have your classmates. And you kindly described your classmates as annoyingly competent, intelligent, and competitive. And it was not just one time, but several times where their issue spotting, elegant analysis, and determined conclusions and class briefs briefly irritated you because they were that good. But it made you better and caused you to read more, write more, study more. And for that, you're grateful. I've had the pleasant and challenging experience of having you in my class and the satisfaction of helping you through the baby bar. And all kidding aside, I was so proud too, and the bar recognized your talent and chose your essay to post as one of the exemplary essays on, I think it was a defamation question. I've also had the pleasure of meeting your wife, Irma, who herself graduated from law school in 2008, and we met after the baby bar. And I always enjoyed seeing how much you admired the way that she gracefully dealt with the challenges of a law profession while growing her practice, and not something that many women have been able to achieve. I know it's been a challenge for you to balance your responsibilities to her and her practice while balancing the pressures of law school. And I got so used to Nelson's emails when I had him in my class, running late with assignments, but I'll get them in, and because of the demands of the law practice. And they always arrived, and they were always thoughtful and well-reasoned. And I always appreciated, on a personal note, that Nelson would sign his emails to me, "Your favorite student." So, seriously, you have a very bright future in the law, and I wish you and Irma every success. Michelle. Michelle and I have had a couple of heart-to-heart talks over her law school career, and you just so underestimate your perseverance and your talent. You've described that this has been the most difficult academic experience of your life, and I think all of you would agree with that. You've expressed, though, looking back, that you're convinced that you made the right decision to go to law school and chose the perfect time to start law school. And you expressed people especially asking you, why do you want to do that at your age? And you showed them. So those of us who have gone to law school as mature adults, including you, Michelle, know that you went because you always wanted to go to law school, learn the law, wanted the knowledge to better your life and the life of others. And as you expressed it, now you realize that law school is a journey and is different for everybody. And what helped you through and will help shape your future is your very strong family support system, and hopefully coupled with the quality education you've gotten at St. Francis. So I'm going to bug you next year to join your classmates too and sit for the California bar. I look forward to having you as a fellow attorney in the state of California. So congratulations. And then finally, Julie. It has just been a personal joy to watch your immense progress through these 4 years. I know it's been tough and the program's been demanding, but you truly are, as the dean said, a very mature legal thinker, and I think one of the hardest workers I've ever seen. You've accomplished so much experience, and you're not even licensed yet. And those experiences, things that you went out and got on your own. From getting a job in a criminal defense firm, working on criminal appeals in the DA's office felony trial team, and to your current, much sought after position as an immigration officer in the Department of Homeland Security office in San Francisco. And that's something that you went out and did on your own, I think, when many students were just trying to do their reading for the next class. So you truly are accomplished, and I expect that you will be an awesome representative of the best that St. Francis has to offer the legal community. So congratulations. And finally, you all give St. Francis, I think, its spark, its energy, and its driving sense of purpose and mission. So use your legal training to do good work. My final thoughts will quote my personal legal hero, the notorious RBG, from one of her commencement addresses, where she said, if you want to be a true professional, do something outside yourself. To make life a little better for people less fortunate than you, that's what I think a meaningful life is. One lives not just for oneself, but for one's community. So use your knowledge to fight for the things that you care about, but do it in a way that will lead others to join you. So best of luck to you all, and congratulations.
Well done. Thank you very much, Professor Travis. You always get right to the essence, even if it hurts. So you always get right to the essence of each of our graduates. Well, graduates, now the big moment is finally here. We will first confer the degrees, and then we will ask each graduate to come to the stage to receive their diplomas and be hooded with the academic honors and regalia that they are now entitled to. For our audience, the practice of wearing these robes and hoods extends back at least as long as there has been higher education, certainly into the Middle Ages. It was frankly practical in origin. In the old days, the buildings where they had colleges were these big old stone buildings, not very well heated, and so the practice evolved for people to wear rather heavy robes to stay warm. But of course, we being academics, we had to take that a little bit further. And soon, this college had its robes and colors, and that college had its robes and colors. And a whole system of this evolved that we carried forward all the way to today, long past its practical utility. There are three things to know about this tradition. Number one, the traditional color for law for robes and hoods is this purple color. So this is not just because we like purple. This goes back many, many years in our tradition to wear purple in these situations. The second is that the hood colors, in addition to the purple trim, have a lining that is distinctive for the institution of higher education that the student graduated from. So earlier I had a quip about Professor Chow and I being fellow alma mater of Loyola University of Chicago. Well, we should have the same color on the back. Here in this area, you can probably see that now, but also in the back, they should match. Now, different manufacturers, maybe not quite. We'll see how that works, but you can pick us out at the reception and figure out if that's true. All of our graduates have a hood. The colors are red and white along with the purple trim that is distinct to St. Francis. And that will be their color until they earn some other kind of academic honor that entitles them to wear, no, audience says no, entitle them to wear a different hood with different colors of some sort. And they will be hooded on their time. So the third thing is that from this day forward, for any similar occasion, your graduate is entitled to wear this academic regalia to that occasion, should they, for example, be called on to make a graduation speech, even at the local high school. I encourage you, get all dolled up, put on the fancy clothes to go give your speech, because they will be impressed with all the fancy robes and whatnot. All right, so take good care of them, because you'll want to use them, hopefully, somewhere down the road. All right. Will the 2022 graduates please stand? The Juris Doctor signifies that a person has completed a comprehensive and rigorous course of study in the subject matter, principles, and skills necessary to be an effective lawyer and contributing member of the legal profession. Completion of a Juris Doctor program is something that takes talent, intellectual curiosity, and commitment. Congratulations to each of you here today for your accomplishment. By the authority vested in me and on behalf of the faculty of St. Francis School of Law, I confer upon you and all the other JD graduates listed in the program who have met the program requirements the degree of Juris Doctor, with all rights and privileges thereunto appertaining. Congratulations, graduates. Now, will the graduates please come forward as your name is called to receive diplomas and hoods? All right. Jennifer Campos. That's yours. So you will shake hands, and then you take it, and then we'll do something like this. It's the back. Congratulations. And thank you, audience, for your patience as we give each, it's a small group, we'll give each of them their moment. Nelson Cavour. Do this. And then we have that, and we'll do this. Oh, no, I think we have a couple more. Congratulations. Michelle Dent. Congratulations. Well done.
Shake again, please.
Shake again.
Oh, shake again.
Ready? One more. Ready?
Oh, you brought a stylist. No, this.
Hold up the whole graduation.
But you do want to show off your. You have to be cool.
Dr. Julie Harvey. Jennifer Warner. Well done. We try to first. We'll go with that now. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2022 St. Francis School of Law graduating class. As is usually the case in life, things worth doing are worth doing with or for others. One seldom accomplishes anything truly worthwhile all by oneself, and that's truly true of this group today. To make that point, I want to do a little tradition I have done at graduation for a long time about our school and our graduates. Let me ask each graduate who is a son or a daughter to please stand up. It's just a little test after one last test. One last quick test. All right, now, anyone who is a parent, please turn and face the audience. And if you have children, no, I don't think we have any, oh, everybody's a parent. Anybody have children present today? No children present today. All right, well, on behalf of them, if you're watching on the video, I'm going to wave. They were supposed to wave to their children if they have their children. There you go, on the video. That's terrific. Now, do we have any graduates who are grandparents today? Do we have any graduates who are grandparents? Please remain standing. Everyone else who is not a grandparent can sit down. And we don't have any grandchildren here today, I take it. But say hello on the video to your grandchildren as well, if you would. Maybe they'll watch the video at some point down the road. Wave to your grandchildren if you like. All right. Thank you for indulging me. You can be seated now. In addition, of course, to children and grandchildren, we have spouses and partners, and we have supporters of all kinds who've been with them on the journey. And I want to, at the end, once again, thank you for your contribution to their success. They truly could not be here, and I know they know that, and that they will make sure that they have adequately expressed that appreciation by taking on those household chores that we talked about earlier on very soon. Well, time to celebrate. This concludes the formal ceremony. This 6th St. Francis School of Law commencement is adjourned.